So yesterday we talked about equivalent fractions. If I have the fraction 5/6, I can find a fraction that is equivalent to it by multiplying my numerator and my denominator by the same number. If I multiply my denominator by 2, then I'm going to multiply my numerator by 2, and I would get an equivalent fraction that would be 10/12. Today we are going to go the opposite direction. We are going to take a fraction and we are going to do what is called simplifying it. And when you simplify it, that means that nothing can divide into the numerator or the denominator. It is in what we call simplest form. We have to find, basically what we're doing is finding the largest number that goes into the two numbers of the fraction. For example, if I have the fraction 3/9 and I want to simplify it. Well, remember when we used our divisibility rules? And we know that they're not even, so we know that 2 doesn't go into it. We know that they don't end in a 5 or 0, so 5 doesn't go into it. And we know that they don't end in 0, so we know that they're not multiples of 10. So we have to think, well, what number does go into or divides evenly into 3 and 9? Well, most of you probably guessed it, and it is 3. So you can also divide your numerator and the denominator by the same number, and when you do, you simplify it, and you get the number 1/3. 1/3 is what we call the simplified version of 3/9. In other words, they equal the same thing. However, if you want the simplified version so that nothing would divide into the numerator and in the denominator. Now, this is easy for some people, but I know it's not so easy for other people. And there is a simpler way to simplifying fractions, and it does require the use of a multiplication chart. If I have the fraction 2/8 and I want to simplify it, take your multiplication chart and you need to find columns that have the numbers 2 and 8 in it. That column does. That column does. This one has an 8 but not a 2, and this one has an 8 but not a 2. So you want to find the largest column that has the two numbers that you're simplifying by, and then you want to go all the way to the end. The number on top is 1. The number on bottom would be 4, because basically what you did was you divided it by this column, or the column number. So the simplified version of 2/8 is equal to 1/4, because what did you do? You divided the numerator and the denominator by 2. I am going to require you to show work on these because I want you to know what you divided by and how to find it. The multiplication chart is the easiest way of finding the simplest form. Let's do another one. Let's do 10/25. Well, this column has a 10 but not a 25. And this column has a 10 but not a 25. And that column doesn't have any of the numbers. This column has a this column has a 10 and a 25. And none of the other columns have 10s or 25 in them. This one just has a 10. So the column is your 5 column. If you go all the way over to the end, your numerator is going to be 2. Your denominator is going to be 5, because you divided them both by 5, and it ended up being 2/5. This time I'm going to give you a harder one to try. What happened? Let's try this one. Let's do 36 over 63. Now those are some big numbers, but if you have your multiplication chart, it makes it a little bit easier. Find the columns that have both 36 and 63 in them. Well, this one has 36, and I don't know if it has a 63 because it stops at 36. So let's go to another column. Looking for 36. This one has a 36, but look, it does not have a 63, so I can't use that column. This one has a 63, but it doesn't have a 36. That one doesn't have any of them. This one has a 36, and it has a 63. So this is my largest column that has a 36 and a 63 in it. When I slide it all the way over, it's going to simplify into 4/7 because I divided it by 9. So it equals 4/7 because you divided your numerator and your denominator by 9. I hope this helps with simplifying.